All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Silver Spoon podcast. Today, we are joined by money coach Vince, who is a money coach and digital creator specializing in helping millennials sort out their finances and streamline their path to financial freedom. He focuses on instilling great money habits for saving, budgeting, and investing by developing your money mindset and putting money systems into place to help you reach your financial goals. So, who better than to chat with us today about how we can trade in our broke mindsets for a millionaire one than Coach Vince? So, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk about, especially about money mindset.
Oh, yes. No, it is definitely important. Of course, as we go along our financial freedom journeys, there's a lot of, new things that we're going to have to learn, but if the environment is not right for planting those seeds that we are learning, then it's going to be a lot harder to see those results that we want to see. So today we're going to talk a little bit about broke mindset versus millionaire mindset by exploring some different statements. These are statements that we can apply to not only building our money habits in our financial freedom journey, but also just life in general. So we're going to start off with the statement that the broke only see their point of view while millionaires see the bigger picture. So, Coach Vince, how would you view this statement and how would you apply it to maybe even your financial freedom journey or another's?
Yeah, so it's hard. It's really hard. I know in the beginning when you first get started on your financial journey to really think big picture or think long term is really tough because you're going through those problems, those financial issues, and it's really hard to kind of grasp, okay, it's really hard to grasp anything beyond what can I do right now to get myself out of this position. But it's very important for you to have that growth mindset, that bigger mindset, to really help you build those habits necessary right now in the moment to get you to where you want to be. I think that's the biggest shift, especially when you're in that broke mindset. I'm not going to say necessarily broke, but even if you are broke or even if you are in that broke mindset, to really start having the mindset of thinking bigger picture and creating habits to help you get to that bigger picture or what you see for yourself down the line. I think that's very important. And it's really hard to do that in the beginning, but you have to shift your mindset in a way to get yourself thinking that way, to get yourself thinking big picture and thinking this is what I'm doing this for because this is what I ultimately want to get to.
Yeah, that's facts. I 100% agree with that. I think that's so true, especially in this day and age. Like with like social media, sometimes we may see like the end results for people and like we forget that there's this delayed gratification that we have to really lean into when we're doing anything. We're going for any goal, whether that be financial or like if it's a fitness goal or even a career goal. Things take time. They don't just happen overnight. You have to really lay that foundation.
Exactly.
As you were mentioning, and that starts with a shift in your mindset of understanding that this is going to be a journey. It's not going to be, one lap around. It's going to be a marathon. It's going to take time. Um, so yeah,
Exactly.
that's awesome. The next one is that the broke go in too many different directions, whereas millionaires
Mm,
focus on the main thing. I know this is definitely something I need to get my notebook for because I'm a
yeah.
multitasker at heart. So what is your take on this?
Yeah, I think so. For me, it was the same way. So when you first get started, you hear, especially in the financial space specifically, it's just like multiple streams of income, multiple streams of income. So, and I talk about this all the time. I have a class that I do where I talk about this, but we think that multiple streams of income and we're progressing by doing multiple things, but what we're doing is actually limiting ourselves in that process. So instead of maximizing on one thing that's really going to push the needle, what we're doing is spreading ourselves thin across many things that really isn't progressing us anywhere. So we end up staying in the same spot because we have so many things going on. We're pulled in these different directions to where we can never go farther or outside that radius. I want you to think about this. Like, if you're in the middle of something and there's like 10 people with a string on you and they're all pulling in their direction, but you're still there because you're in the middle. You're not really going anywhere. So it's all equal forces that's pulling on you, that's keeping you right in that middle spot. So as much as people work or however hard you work, you're really not moving. And it's because you got all these different things that's pulling you, all these different ideas that you're trying to bring to life. When in reality, what really needs to happen is you need to focus on one thing. And what you'll find, and I tell this to people too all the time, is that when you focus on that one thing can then be split up into many different directions. But here's the thing: we're going in this direction with this one thing, and it has many other factors that's pulling along with it, not against it, like you were in the circle. So we have to fight this constant battle of, trying to do everything, trying to be a multitasker. And we have to learn how to focus on the things that we're good at, learn how to maximize that, whether that be your gift, whether that be your skill, whatever the case may be, your job. Okay, focus, get that under wraps, get that under control, and then you can start using that skill or that gift or that job or that one thing to maximize in other areas. So it's really reverse. A lot of people try to do all these things at once to get somewhere when really need to focus on one thing to get somewhere, and that's going to um what's the word I'm looking for? That's going to give you access to everything else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, no, 100%, 100%. And yeah, like I was saying, like I'm a multitasker at heart. I like to say that I can try and get many things done at the same time, but then the quality of the work that I'm doing suffers greatly when I'm doing that. So I think that's
Yeah,
an important lesson to learn because yeah, the way you do one thing is the way you're doing all things. So if I'm multitasking here, I'm multitasking everything else, and I'm gonna continue to not get anywhere. So that was a great analogy too. Like if people are pulling on you, but they're all pulling in different directions. You're not going to go anywhere. Like you may
right.
seem like you're exerting a lot of energy, but you're really not getting anywhere. Um,
Really not moving. Really not moving. So
yeah.
yeah, that just hit me too. So that just that just came up to me. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's really important for people to understand for sure.
No, definitely, definitely. Yeah, like work smarter, not harder, and like I think
Hmm.
that's facts. Okay, awesome. So the next one that I have for you is the broke don't learn from their mistakes while millionaires reflect and learn daily.
Mm. This one, so the mistakes that we make when we're broke is kind of like magnified. Um, because I know for a lot of us, like we're struggling. So like any mistake that we make or the fear of making a mistake is really magnified.
Mhm.
So a lot of that keeps us stagnant as well too, because we have that fear of making those mistakes. Um, and then when we do it, it's like we don't really learn from it because it's like I'm trying to get this, I'm trying to reach a certain level, I'm trying to strive. This is just part of the game, and you feel like you learn from it, or you feel like that's something that's just part of the process, but you end up doing it again because you're just in that routine, you're just stuck in that mindset, you're stuck in that mode. So you know not learning from those mistakes is very crucial And that kind of goes back to the mindset of really only like not focusing on the bigger picture too, because that mindset limits you. So you're in a limited space. You can't really think creatively. You can't really think outside of the box, especially when you don't have the finances in order, because that's something that's just controlling your mind. So it's really hard. It's really hard to look at those and learn from it in that process while you're doing it in that space. Really, really tough. Really, really hard. But the sooner that you are able to kind of really position yourself and start creating some better habits financially, to start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, then you can start taking some of those lessons and really learning from them and capitalizing on them too. I think that's really, really important that we understand that, yes, it may be a trying time. Yes, it may be a struggle right now. But if we're able to see that light, we can see down that tunnel like, okay, this is exactly um, what I needed to learn from this. This is what I needed to get from this. Then we can progress and move forward.
Yeah, 100%. So let's say like I feel like the number one thing that people struggle with when they're starting their like financial freedom journey is just figuring out like how to budget. So like how to even just be aware of where things are, what's coming in, what's going out, what do I even want to spend? How do I be intentional with my spending? What are some things that people may need to do on like a may not be a daily basis, but might need to be a weekly basis that could help them learn from their like budgeting mistakes. Like maybe they're chronically always going over budget. I know that was something that I struggled with. Like I would set the
Yeah.
budget and then would never stick to it each month. Like it was like, great, you did all this work and you didn't account for these certain things, or you said, oh, it's okay, I'll make up for it next month. What are some things that we can do to help sort of check ourselves maybe a little bit sooner rather than later, so that we can learn and like maybe grow and evolve in our budgeting, so that we can start saving more and start investing and doing those things, building for those goals that we have.
Yeah, that's a great question. So like when especially beginning the journey, I think a lot of us just kind of just budget just to like put numbers down. And what we don't do is really assess those habits that come along with it. So a lot of us we track our spending. We track how much we spend. We put those numbers down and we put them in a nice little Excel spreadsheet or in our apps or whatever. And
Guilty.
then we never really even look back at it. We say that we did it. Yeah, I have a budget. Yes, I do it. But I don't have the systems, or I don't have the awareness in place to really keep track with it. So we're tracking the spending, we're tracking how much comes in and out, but we aren't looking at the spending habits. So that's what I would suggest that we do, especially in the beginning, more of is tracking those habits. What are some of those habits? Every week around this time, I'm spending this on this. I'm spending this on going out. I'm spending this on late night. I might be up late and I might be doing some online shopping, so I spend a little bit more there. Or whenever I get paid, I like to go to happy hour, and I don't really budget for that, but that's something that I do, every Friday or Thursday or whatever the case may be. We need to understand these spending habits so that we can get a better grasp on exactly what's going on. And so learning from those spending habits and those mistakes would definitely be something that you reveal to yourself. And the only way that you can really reveal that to yourself is by understanding those spending habits. And then also when it comes to actually understanding those and figuring that out and seeing that pattern, you have to look at the statements. I know a lot of us, what we tend to do is just look, or not even look, we tend to just pull everything from our mind, right? Off the
Yeah.
top of our brain.
Hmm.
And we try to remember all the bills and when the bills is due and how much they were. And, we kind of just jot down the last numbers that we remember. It never works that way, y'all. It never works that way. So we have to look at the statements. We have to get our actual numbers. We have to look at the patterns that of spending and our spending habits. from those statements and from those bank statements and credit card statements. And that's going to be really crucial for you, because what I say all the time is the truth will set you free. Like, really. Like, really, really. The truth will set you free. That's the truest statement, and it can't be more true when it comes to budgeting and looking within your own financial ecosystem. Like, dang, you looking back on that statement, like, I spent this much there. I don't even remember that. You
Right.
know what I mean? Or I can't believe that I spent this much this weekend. I can't believe that I spent this much this month. I don't even feel like I spent that much. Right? So just having that awareness and being able to look back and getting that truth and revealing that to you is sometimes what's needed, right? Sometimes that wake up call for us to really sit back and say, okay, I need to really start focusing on this more. This is something that I need to be more aware of. And that right there is that learning experience where we learn from the mistakes, we learn, we reveal the truth, and then that truth is what ultimately sets us free down the line.
Yeah, that's I agree with that for sure. And you mentioned something earlier too when like you're taking into account like of those spending habits and you were like every time I get paid and I want to go to happy hour or like I'll be up late and like wanting to like shop and like you got to take into account those like environments, like those
Yes.
triggers, those things that put you in that space that, put you in like, oh, I want to overspend or I want to impulse spend or spend outside of my budget or whatever the case is. Because the more you become more in tune with yourself, then
Mm.
you'll be able to, make those long lasting changes in your finances. So I thought that was, yeah, it was so like so underrated but so important because yeah,
Yes.
we have to take into account like your finances is like financial decisions are based off of so many other factors, like there's so many
Yes.
different experiences and like how we feel about things influences a lot more than like sometimes we may realize. And that excitement of like, oh, I just got paid and like money seems endless right now versus like, oh, I'm like pinching pennies and it feels like this dollar is not going to stretch as far as I need to. Like those play into the roles and to the habits that we end up, you know, replaying month after month, each paycheck after paycheck. So that I thought
Yes.
that was very important to take note into. So with looking at these habits, um, the next statement is um, the broke are stuck in a box or in their comfort zone while millionaires innovate and try new things. So I know a big part of what you do for coaching and the Money Mindset University is helping input like new systems for people to be able to like reach their goals. So what are some of those systems? What are some ways that you are helping people innovate so that they can stick to their habits, stick to their goals?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, number one is called is Money Mindset University, because that's the first thing that I want to help with, the mindset. Because that's very crucial for any change to happen. So before that, I really instill a system of belief, like a belief system in yourself that you can actually do this. And it's really just shifting those limiting beliefs that you have and the past thoughts and of, I'm not able to save money, or I hate auto pay, I hate budgeting, like these different limiting beliefs, and really just shifting those and creating a system to shift those with creating those new affirmations and creating a new system of just believing and creating these new abundant money mindsets.
Right.
That's really that's really the first thing. That's the first thing that I break. We kind of like dig really deep into some of those beliefs and thoughts that you have and habits that you have as well, and kind of assess, okay, why is that a habit? Why is that something for me? And then we create a new system just from a belief standpoint first. When you believe it, then you can achieve it. So from there, we go to actually setting the systems to achieve the goals that we have in place. And so now it's really about um, uh, automation, right? It's really about having a budget system, tracking how much actually comes out. So it's great to budget, but that's how much we expect to come out. But what actually is happening throughout the month? So creating a system for that. We also create a system around auto pay. So once we have the awareness and the clarity financially, now we can begin to break those molds, those old beliefs, and see, okay, yeah, I can actually put this on auto pay. It's not as scary as I thought. This is something that's actually freeing me. I don't have to constantly worry about money, or paying bills. So those are the first parts of the system that we set up to kind of break you out of that comfort zone, that comfort zone of this is how I've always done it, but how you've always done it hasn't necessarily got you to the goals that you plan to achieve. So we have to be open and mindful to shifting that and shifting the habits and doing some new things, putting some new systems in place to help you get there. And not only get there, but give you the best chance of getting there too, without having any manual involvement involved. Because when there's any like manual involvement, so you personally sending money from your checking to your savings, from your checking to a high yield savings, there's a lot of factors, like you said earlier, that goes into that. There's a lot of factors emotionally, especially, that goes into that. You may not feel good that day. You may feel, it may be raining that day, so you don't want to save, right? You rather spend that money or something like that. Whereas if you have a system in place to automate it, then that's stuff that happens automatically, and then you're able to do it whatever you have left over, or whatever you have specifically in the budget set aside for that. So that's really key. And I don't think too many people think about that, which is why, we do what we do. We coach, we educate, we inform people on this type of stuff. But it's important that we really break some of those old habits, those old beliefs, the things that we were learned, that the things that we were taught, that may have been like safe or may have been helpful to our parents and our grandparents, right? But not necessarily something that's going to be helpful going forward for us. Or, maybe they didn't have the technology to do some of the things that we're able to do now
Yeah.
today with that information that they had back then. So it's just about reforming that and really shifting that so that you can put those systems in place to help you break those molds that's been over you like since childhood.
Yeah, no, that's facts. Like I think that's so important that there life is changing, the world is changing. It looks so different now than it did even 5 years ago, even 10 years ago. Like there's so much that can help
Yes.
us, so many things that we have to consider, maybe even shift in priorities and values, and like it's definitely going to look different from the things that our parents and our grandparents did. That's definitely true. And one of those technologies that we have is, social media, the ability to be able to build these relationships or even exchange and share information with one another, so quickly. Yeah, you can do it anywhere, at the drop of a hat. Um, so one of the statements that I had says the broke follow the crowd while millionaires challenge popular wisdom. And
Mhm.
I feel like this can be really hard, especially in the age of social media, in the age of, you have people that do talk about things like getting rich quick, or these different vehicles that are supposed to help you reach a certain goal in half the
Right.
time or a third of the time. So, what are some ways that we can combat that, to be able to, stand firm in what it is that we believe, what it is that we want, and really challenge what is out there that might be promising these things that aren't actually possible.
Yeah, I think this is really this is really this is really fun for me because I don't think a lot of people really assess this or really think at this point, because what's happening is because of the lack of financial education, because of the lack of knowledge that we have, a
Mhm.
lot of us are just out here winging it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because a lot of us are out here winging it, we don't really have no direction. We don't know. We don't have no real guidance on which way to go. We hear all these different things, and we see all these shiny objects and different products and different gurus and people talking online, like all this different stuff that
Mhm.
kind of influences us because we don't have no direction. We don't know. So without that education, without the knowledge, it's kind of just like we just going with the flow. We don't have no direction. It's just here or there. We trying to keep up with so and so, trying to keep up with society, trying to look good, trying to dress the part, trying to do all these things that we think is either going to help us get to that goal or just be like a positive influence over somebody else's life. So what I'm trying to say is like it's important that we have goals for ourselves. It's important that we have our own intentions. See, I think a lot of us don't ever get to the point where we can achieve anything because we don't have those goals in place. We're not intentional. We're not intentional enough. Point blank, period. Like,
Right.
we have to get more intentional about what we want out of life, what we want to do. You know, when I was playing football, uh, like I didn't have this mindset at all. So I wasn't as intentional as I maybe have should have been to get to where I wanted to get to. I was just playing football just because that's what I've done, right? And I never was really intentional about what I was doing, what the actual goal was, how to reach the goal with the resources that I had, right? Right where I was at. So because of that, I believe this is just me. I believe I didn't go as far as I could have with football because I wasn't as intentional as I needed to be. So it's the same thing in any area of your life, not just finances, but when you're intentional and you really set out to reach a certain goal or to achieve something specific, then you'll be able to reach those goals and uh like really set your own lane and stop being so concerned about other people. Because your lane will be the, you know, as long as you're having progress, as long as you're reaching the milestones that you want to reach, that's progress. That's winning. That's you in your own lane. What I always say all the time is like I'm really just big on showing people my life or showing people like the light that I have in my life and then them being influenced by that. I'm not trying to be influenced by nobody else. I'm not looking for that. I want to be I want somebody to say, "Dang, look at what he's doing." You know, he's doing everything the right way. He's living a modest life. He's not trying to be all flashy and like God is still just blessing him and he's doing a whole bunch of great things. So I want people to see that and then be influenced for that. And I want everybody else to have that same impact, right? You should be shining a light. You should be flourishing so much. Like you should be so happy and so bright that people want to gravitate to you and do what you're doing, not necessarily the other way around. So, yeah, we definitely have to get out of that. We definitely have to get out of not having the intentions and the mindset towards what we actually want to achieve because that's an easy formula for just following the crowd and just being a part of what everybody else is doing and not getting anywhere because, or I'm not saying not getting anywhere, but not getting to where you want to be, really.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Because you could say see somebody's life and be able to mimic it to a T, and then you get to a point you're like, well, I thought it was going to make me happy and fulfilled, and now what?
Exactly.
Like, this is
Exactly.
not. I got all these things, but they're not the things that I value. So I think that's if you don't take away anything else from this episode, take away that because that is so important. Like definitely
Right.
take the time to get to know who you are, what matters to you. Like I'm sure people are tired of hearing like, "No, you're why," but like it's really important for everything that we do, because then it helps us like yeah, truly live the life that we want in the way that
Yeah.
we see fit and not how Kim Kardashian or whoever else is like saying we should be living our lives. So that yes, snaps for that
Yeah.
because yes, that is very
One of the
important.
things too that I say I do want to mention this.
Hmm.
Um, so I was reading this book and I forget the name of the book, But basically, it says there's a line in there that says if you're specific with the infinite will provide everything that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So I forgot the name of the book, but basically if you have goals, if you have intentions, and if you're specific about what you want and you put it out into the universe, you think these things, and what you think always becomes a reality. So as you think, so as you are.
Yeah.
So if you're intentional about what you think and you're specific about what you think,
Mm-hmm.
these things will come to life. Like you will literally see the things that you envision in real life, in reality, start coming towards you or start gravitating towards you. So you have to be specific, y'all. Be specific with the infinite. The infinite is going to provide everything that you need as long as you're specific, though. That's the key word.
Yeah. No, that's very true. That's very important. You have to know exactly what you're asking for. Yeah, that's I love that. I feel like I've heard that before. I have to look. I like have my little mindset book set aside, so I'm gonna look and
Yeah.
see if it's one of the ones over there because I that sounds very familiar, and it sounds like one of those books that I really struggled to get through because it was like higher language that it was really opening up my mind. It was definitely a challenge, but I feel like
Yeah.
that was something that I remember. But okay, cool. We got two more for you that we're going to ask about. And then I feel like the last one I'm excited because I think it'll be a perfect segue into talking a little bit more about the Money Mindset University and everything. But the first of the two is that the broke allow circumstances to limit them while millionaires see opportunity everywhere.
Yeah. Um, wow. That's a really great statement. So of course all this goes back to mindset. Like it just always goes back to mindset and having that limiting belief. But specifically when it comes to these situations, and what I talk about all the time is putting the odds in your favor so that when these situations come up you aren't in a dire situation. It isn't a financial disaster to where you have to start all over or have to rely on somebody or have to be on your last dying leg, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
um you know positioning, it's all about how you position yourself. And that don't mean you have to be like 50,000 in the bank, 100,000 invested, making $20 million a year, right? That's not positioning yourself. Positioning yourself is creating that foundation, about the foundation and what you set up for yourself. And that foundation is based off of your awareness, the clarity that you have financially, and the plan that you put in place. So that again goes back to having the intentions, right? Having a plan in place of exactly what you want to accomplish. So a lot of us, we don't have these plans. And when in reality, if we simply just had a game plan on exactly what we wanted to achieve, that right there will break us out of that limiting belief. That right there will give us positioning or the position to then put the odds in our favor. So now we can, just bringing this back full circle. Now we can think long term. Now we can think big picture. Now, we don't have to go in nobody else's direction. Now we don't have to just continue to fail or not learn from the mistakes that we made in the past. So that right there is going to get you up out of that comfort zone. That's going to keep you from limiting yourself. And by putting the odds in your favor, it's going to allow you to now start seeing other things. So what I say all the time, whenever you position yourself and put yourself in a position where finances is not that main thing that's in your brain and in your mind, because I think that consumes a lot of us. When we're able to remove that, what that creates is mental deliverance. I remember I created a post one time and I was trying to think of the words to say in the video, and then somebody commented those two words under it, mental deliverance. And those are the perfect words for it, because that's exactly what it is whenever you put yourselves in these positions. That mental deliverance or that clarity from constantly worrying about money or staying up late at night thinking of how you're gonna pay the bills, or just struggling and living paycheck to paycheck. That constant worry being removed from your mind and not consuming so much of everything that you're thinking of, that's gonna give you the leeway to start seeing all of these opportunities that present itself. That's literally right up under your nose that maybe you didn't see before because you were so consumed by your financial worries. So it's important that we break out of that. We break out of that limiting belief, and we are intentional, have a plan, have clarity, because that's going to provide the mental clarity and deliverance that we need to then see all these opportunities and act on them. Because now we're in the space to do that. So I did a class last night where one of the topics was about making extra income, and one of the first things that I tell people all the time is you have to position yourself or learn how to manage money so that those ideas that you have you can actually bring to life. A lot of us are sitting on $100 million, $1 billion ideas that we cannot act on because we're so consumed on the money side, the personal finance side. So and that's the opportunity. That may be the opportunity for you right there that you're missing out on because you've limited yourself by not getting the finances in order. You can't skip it. You can't skip it. Like, even if you do skip it, and I know a lot of us see this all the time, but we see these people jumping and making all this money and doing all these things, and they end up right back in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're just making more money in the same position as if they're making less money. So y'all might as well be the same,
Right.
right? So we see that all the time. That's what happens. You can't skip these steps. You have to put yourself in position to get yourself out of the rat race, the struggle, the what survival mode, so that you
Mm-hmm.
can get into thriving mode
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day.
Yes, yes. No, I love that. I love that. Survive and switch from survival mode to thriving mode. I like it. I like it. So the last one I have for you, which I think is a perfect setup for talking a little bit about the great work that you do, is that the broke focus on helping themselves while millionaires benefit from adding value to others.
Yeah.
So I think it's I can't remember, one of those mindset books that said, if you solve enough people's problems, you're bound to end up solving your own. So
Mm.
tell us a little bit about the Money Mindset University. Tell us a little bit about just your journey with coaching, and how that's not only helping you set up for financial freedom, but helping, hundreds of thousands of others do the same.
Yeah. So it's interesting. When I first got started, I think one of the first things that I realized was that I needed to be selfish in the beginning. So I think a lot of people don't realize that. And of course they wanna help, they wanna give. Like, that's naturally me too. I'm a giver. I wanna help, I wanna provide, I wanna do stuff for people and do these things. And I realized that in the beginning you have to be selfish so that you can become selfless in the end. So we don't want to be selfish for the rest of our life, of course, but we want to be selfish in the beginning to prepare ourselves and put ourselves in position to be selfless later on. And that's the shift that's going to allow you to be able to provide value. So for me, in the beginning, what that looked like was really focusing on me really saying no to a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends was mad at me, like, Vince, all you do is work, all you do is this, you never come out, you never do it. Like, that was the temporary sacrifice. And it wasn't, honestly, it wasn't even that long of a time period of me, like, sacrificing and doing what I needed to do to put myself in position. But initially, I had to be selfish. Initially, I had to focus on me. Initially, I had to say no in order to level up. I had to say no to grow. I had to say no to put myself in position for what I wanted, which was to be able to be selfless and provide value. And, for the longest time, I was struggling. Like I was always good with money, and I was always good at making money,
Mhm.
but I was still struggling. You know, I was still living check to check. I was still wasn't saving no money. I
Mhm.
was still spending my money on everything. So, you know, what's funny is as soon as I started focusing on myself, I got selfish, and then I put myself in position to win. I got real serious about this money stuff. As soon as that happened, that's when everything started changing for me. So my journey was a struggle. Your boy was in debt. Your boy was trying to start businesses. I was working 2, 3, 4 jobs. I was up late at night, up early in the morning, delivering newspapers, pizzas, doing side jobs in the week. I was doing everything. I was really hustling. I was really hustling. But when I realized that I didn't need to do all of that stuff, that I just needed to get focused, I needed to create a budget, I need to really sit down and get myself in order. That's what happened for me. And I took that time to be selfish. I built up my foundation, put myself in position. And when that happened, that's what allowed me to be selfless and give back and be valuable and add value to the world and my audience and the people that I help now. So I started teaching online, I started coaching, I started doing all this stuff and helping people with their finances and just giving back, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. And, you know, I was doing it to really help. I was doing it to really add value. And that's the key right there. You can't be focused on the money. Because you focused on the money in the beginning by being selfless, by being selfish, my bad, by being selfish,
Mhm.
right? And that's just for yourself so that you can give. And then once you've crossed over and you position yourself, now you can be selfless like I did, start giving, pouring value, you know, creating these different things for people. And that's when the everything just kind of took off for me, you know. So that's what I try to teach, and that's what I try to help everybody do. That's really been my message and my method for since I got started.
Mhm.
And you know, we've been helping a bunch of people ever since, and it's been such a gratifying thing to be able to help as many people as I do, coming from where I came from, and you know, the humble beginnings where it all started, and this being something that I always wanted to do. So, you know, that ultimately led to what is now Money Mindset University, which is my community first. So, you know, at first I've always been adamant about building a community around finance because I know that, and you know this, like it's just not talked at home. It's not talked between friends that much in
Right.
the workspace. It's really not talked about anywhere. So I wanted to create a safe space for people to really have a place where they can talk and be comfortable and start saving and ask money questions without feeling judged at all. You know, so that's initially where it all started. I built that up over the last few years. It's been it's been a battle.
Mhm.
It's been a battle for sure.
Yeah.
Just being not knowing how to be an entrepreneur or about business, you know, being like the first generation entrepreneur in my family, just trying to
Yeah.
do all this stuff by myself. But um we've been all over the place, but now we finally got it all into one place, in one app, one community, where everything is held. So this is my online education and coaching platform, and is where I'm able to help hundreds, thousands of people every single month better their finances, learn about money, get their finances in order, and really start leveling up for the next level of their life and stop worrying about money so much. And it's been amazing. So we've been able to help over 1,000 people now. You know, I've been able to personally help hundreds of people and through coaching and one-on-one coaching, and it's just been a blessing. I've just been so blessed to be a part of it, and to really be able to teach people and help give people this knowledge and this education to better their lives. It's so great. It's so rewarding. It's so rewarding, y'all. So I love this. I love talking about money. I love talking about the mindset around money. And you know, when you get around people that's really passionate about what they're doing and really passionate about helping people, it's really the space that you want to be in, because it ain't nothing but good energy. It ain't nothing but people that just want to see you win and want to see you level up. So that's what Money Mindset University is now. Um, for anybody that's interested or want to get involved with me, I would say just go to my website, www.imyourmoneycoach.com, or just check me out on all social media. You can find me at Money Coach Vince across all platforms to get involved.
Cool. Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. And if you guys need a quick shortcut to be able to get to any of those, you can click in the show notes below. We'll include all of the links there. So you can go to the website, you can go follow him on Instagram, all of the good things. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, for having this awesome conversation. There have been so many great takeaways. I can't wait to go back and listen to it myself, and just jot down some good notes, because there's so many great things that we can pull from to be able to be inspired and motivated for our own personal journeys. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining us today. And that's all we got for you.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
All right.